What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Now, the Detroit Lions, of course, just played their first preseason game of football, and Anthony Lynn just had his first opportunity to put his offense on the field for the Detroit Lions, and we got our first opportunity to see how Anthony Lynn's offense is going to look in the Motor City. And through just one game, the Detroit Lions offense looked really solid. The first drive, of course, did not go very well. Part of that was mostly on the players. I don't think a lot of that had to do with Anthony Lynn's play calling, but the first drive admittedly was not very good. However, after that, the Detroit Lions offense was efficient. They were fast. They had a lot of long drives. They had 4 drives to go over 70 plus yards, and they had a lot of really good takeaways for just the first week and for just a small sample size. So today I want to talk about Anthony Lynn's offense. I want to talk about what they did well, what we can expect to see out of this group, and why this offense may be better than a lot of people may have originally thought. But before we get into the video, before we start talking about it, if you're new to the channel and you're enjoying the content, please consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It takes just 2 seconds out of your day to do so. It is quick, it is free, and it is incredibly easy to do, and you would be helping the channel out more than you could possibly know. So if you could do that, take those 2 seconds to like and subscribe. I'd be incredibly appreciative for it. But with all that being said, without any further ado, let's get right into talking about Anthony Lynn and his new offense for the Detroit Lions.
So we get Anthony Ryder from South Lyon, Michigan, recently selected as the Lions 2020 Fan of the Year. He has a passion about sports broadcasting.
With the 112th selection in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver, USC. One pride, baby! Yeah! Now, the Detroit Lions offense, admittedly, as I said, did start incredibly poorly. Jared Goff threw a very bad pass to begin the game. They ran for 0 yards on the second play. They got sacked on the third play, and they punted. However, they then came back and had one of the most impressive drives I have ever seen out of the Detroit Lions. They went on the second drive of the football game versus the Buffalo Bills starting defensive line, and they went 18 plays for 70 yards, taking up 9 minutes and 54 seconds off the clock, scoring 3 points on the play. They then had a lesser drive, I think a first down or 2, but then they stalled out. They punted, they got it back, they went. I don't even think they got a playoff in that drive, and the quarter ended, and that team got off the field. But in the second quarter, the Detroit Lions had another drive of 16 plays, going 80 yards down the field, taking up over 8 minutes and 27 seconds. Again, settling for 3, but again, showing how efficient and how methodical this offense can be and how well they can play on the football field. Now, the Detroit Lions after that had a couple drives here and there that were, less efficient, that were less effective. They had one, obviously, to end the half where I think they got one play off. They had one play at the end of the game that, they had one play, got sacked. It's fine. That is what it is. That doesn't really count as a full drive. But not only did those 2 drives impress me a lot, in the second half of the game with Tim Boyle and David Blau at quarterback, the Detroit Lions manned a 6-play, 74-yard drive, taking up 3 minutes and 15 seconds that resulted in a touchdown. And then a couple drives after that, they had an 8-play drive where they drove 75 yards, taking up just 2 minutes and 20 seconds, where they once again settled for 3 points. So on all 4 of the Detroit Lions scoring drives in week 1, they drove over 70 plus yards. 2 of those drives showed exactly how methodical, how slow, how ball control of an offense they can be, taking up almost 10 minutes and 8.5 minutes respectively. And then in the second half, when the Lions were down by 2 possessions and they had to score, they scored in 3 minutes and they scored in 2 minutes. They essentially ran a 2-minute drill and just over 2-minute drill, 3 minutes and 15 seconds, but that drive ended up in 7 points. Now, the Detroit Lions in that game, they won time of possession. Yes, they may have only won it by 4 seconds, but they did win time of possession. They did have more first downs on the day. They had 0 turnovers, and they were a more efficient offense on a per play basis than the Buffalo Bills. Now, with that being said, of course, with all those long drives, you would expect the Detroit Lions to get a lot of big plays, especially in the 2 drives that was 6 plays and 8 plays that only lasted a couple of minutes but went 74 yards. But you would be very mistaken. The Detroit Lions' longest play on the day was only 24 yards, and that was the touchdown run by Craig Reynolds. Other than that, the Detroit Lions had 2 plays of 20 yards, but other than that, they had very few big plays down the field. The Detroit Lions on the first day and on the first game had 4 drives of 70 plus yards, but they only had 3 plays of 20 plus yards. So they only had 3 plays where they covered over 20 plus yards of turf. They only had 3 plays on the entire game where they gained more than 20 yards, or gained even just 20 yards. They had 2 plays of 20 yards in 1 play of 24. Those are your 3 big plays of the game. But they still ended up having 4 drives of 70 plus yards. And you have to remember, this is without 3 of their top weapons. DeAndre Swift, their best running back, was out. Quintez Cephas, their second best wide receiver, was out. TJ Hawkinson, their best receiving threat and their biggest weapon overall, was missing the game. And even without those 3 weapons, Jared Goff was calm, cool, collected. He was very poised, and he drove down the field, taking up just nearly 10 minutes of time, and got points away and left that quarter as a tied football game going into the second quarter. Is with backups, with Tim Boyle, who had a very poor night, the Detroit Lions were able to put together 2 drives, one that resulted in 3 points, one that resulted in 7 points, and both of those drives were 74 or longer. And that is with a quarterback that was not playing very well. And then the one drive that David Blau was able to orchestrate, they went 8 plays, 75 yards, 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and got 3 points to take the lead, mind you, to take the lead in that football game and give their defense an opportunity to go back on the field and win that football game. The offensive line, with the exception of the first rep of the football game, with the exception of really the first couple of reps, and with the exception of some of the backup tackles, played very well. The interior of the offensive line played well all night, whether it be the starters or the backups. The tackles, again, started a little shaky on that first drive, but Penei Sewell got his shots in. Penei Sewell played very well. And on that second drive with Jared Goff, that offensive line gave him so much time in the pocket. They gave him so much opportunity to stand there, to read the defense, and feel as comfortable as possible. With the exception of that one poor drive, the Detroit Lions were deadly. They were efficient. They were not even a big play offense, but they just converted first down after first down after first down. It got to 3rd and 1. They would run the ball, convert, move the chains, and move on. It was an efficient offense. It was a methodical offense. It was a ball control offense, and it was an offense that was not necessarily the flashiest to watch, or you're going to come away with the biggest highlights of the day, but it was an offense that resulted in points. It was an offense that consistently and more often than not ended Detroit Lions drives in touchdowns, in not zeros, not punts, not turnovers, but in points. 3 or 7, yeah, you'd like to see maybe more touchdowns than field goals, but at the end of the day, points are points. And if you end every single drive of a football game with 3 points, you will win the football game more times than not. If you score on every single drive, if you even score 3 points on every single drive, you will win a lot of football games. And the Detroit Lions scored more drives than they did not on, with, of course, the exceptions of the halves and the games actually ending, because those were 1 plays, those did not count. With the exception of those 2 drives to end the half and end the game, they had, I believe, 4 drives to end in points and 3 drives that did not end in points. That is the sign, and that is the beginning of a really, really quality offense. Now, there was no big plays, there was no flashy plays. Obviously, Tyrell had a really nice catch in the sideline for 20 yards. That was probably the best play by the starting offense. Yeah, Craig Reynolds had a 24-yard rushing touchdown. That was probably the biggest play of the offense overall. It wasn't some 70-yard bomb. It was not some big Moss in the end zone. They were slow. They were methodical. But at the end of the day, they were efficient, and that's the offense that we expected this team to have. That's the offense that we expected to see out of this football team. We expected this team to have good protection. We expected them to run the ball a little bit better than they did, but I think once DeAndre Swift comes back, the running game will look so much better. But Jared Goff manned this offense very well. Jared Goff led this offense down the field phenomenally, again, with the exception of that first drive. But I think once he got hit once, he kind of calmed down a little bit. Once that first take got out of the way, he calmed down and ran a very efficient, very deadly offense that resulted in points more times than not. Even Tim Boyle, a quarterback that was not playing his best night, had 2 drives that he took the offense down and scored points on and put them in a position to take the lead. David Blau, with 1 real significant drive on the day, drove his offense down, got in position to score a field goal, got within the red zone within 2 minutes of the football game being over, and ended his drive in points to take the lead. And I know this is preseason. I know that some of these are backups, but Anthony Lynn's offensive system works. Anthony Lynn's offensive system was effective, was efficient, and I believe if the Detroit Lions offense continues to play like this, if they continue to be efficient, if they continue to just get points on the board, they will be in a position to win a lot of football games, especially considering the defensive performance that we saw out of Aaron Glenn's defense on the first outing. But with all that being said, that is life for you guys today. Let me know what you guys thought of the Detroit Lions offense. Again, I know they started very poorly, but I will try to take that with a grain of salt. That was the first drive of a lot of guys' careers, or their first drive with the Detroit Lions. First drive of the preseason, there's going to be some rust. Everybody's afraid to take that first hit, but once it happened, once those first hits were made, once those pads hit together once or twice, they kind of settled down, and after that first drive, they were a super efficient offense, and they got points a lot. Well, all that being said, that is life for you guys today. I was very pleased with what I saw from the offense in week 1, but I'd be very curious to hear what you guys think about the offensive performance. Let me know down in the comments below. I'd be very curious to hear what you guys think. But with all of that being said, that is life for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching, and until next time, and as always, go Lions!